Some championships are just getting underway, others have already been busy because this, for Formula Renault Eurocup, is the second race weekend. It's the second race weekend in Italy as well. They were at Monza a fortnight back, and now in 50th season anniversary for Formula Renault, which began in France and spread its wings to a European championship and then had all sorts of different national and regional championships. It's in business at Imola, and this promises to be, as ever, a very interesting first 30 minutes plus 1 lap race. The entry, as ever, is an intriguing one. You've got lots of new drivers, you've got some returning drivers, and the grid set this morning in the qualifying session has some surprises in it as well, not least the fact that the man on pole position, David Vidales, is new to the championship, to the circuit, to car racing, having never raced cars before, fresh out of karting. It's going to be really interesting to see how he fares. Pit lane is open, cars making their way out onto the circuit. This is David Addison, and David Vidales is going to be, as I say, the man on pole, ready for our first race around one of the few counterclockwise circuits that the championship will go to. 4.9 kilometres long. The estimate is 17 laps for the race, which means 83 kilometres and change. And as far as the grid is concerned, this is how they will line up, with David Vidales then for JD Motorsports on pole position. Renault Sport Academy member Kaya Collett, joint championship leader second. Former Renault Sport Academy driver Victor Martins third on the grid, and the Flying Finn William Alatallo fourth ahead of the Brit. Alex Quinn, Ugo de Wilde, race winner last year. Then Paul Aron, younger brother of Formula 3 race winner Ralph Aron. Next on the grid is the French driver Rachid de Geras, then Gregoire Surcy and Franco Colapinto to round out the top 10 on the grid. Now, Colapinto and Collett are the two winners that we have had thus far. They're also the two drivers that have had a third place thus far, hence joint championship leaders. There is the grid, slightly different, with, of course, no spectators allowed to Imola, with everybody on that grid needing to distance themselves, with the face masks being essential as well. Very hot temperatures that everybody is revelling in here as the cars make their way round to the grid. And this promises, as you get used to in Formula Renault, to being a really good battle. Now, yes, these are not the easiest of cars in which to overtake because of slicks and wings. However, overtaking is certainly possible, and so also is forcing a mistake out of a driver and benefiting from there. They've been to Monza, now Imola, next stop in September, the Nürburgring. A week later, they go to Magny-Cours before heading to Zandvoort, to Barcelona. They will race at the Total 24 Hours of Spa before going to Hockenheim and Paul Ricard and ending the season in Abu Dhabi, all of which, of course, depends on how the global situation continues. The category began in 1971. Formula Renault has continued to produce plenty of talent, from Alain Prost and Kimi Raikkonen to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc on a modern Formula One grid. Formula France was created in 1968. It was a single-seater category with the engine from what was the Renault 8 Gordini to be affordable and to allow drivers to go racing and then move up to the next level. Formula Renault went to a single chassis route in 2000 and ran alongside, in the Eurocup at least, ran alongside the World Series by Renault Formula Renault 3.5 package for many, many years. Last year, the cars had this new regional Formula 3 style car with the Halo device, 1800cc turbocharged engine. And this, the 50th season of it, as I say, supporting GT World Challenge Europe, going to some new circuits this year as well. As ever, you're looking at motorsport stars of the future. And Ugo de Wilde, the Arden Motorsport driver that I met a moment ago, has a certain link to a degree because he's got an Italian mum. And let's go to the grid first of all, because let's hear Tariq Al-Said of Renault Sport.
Yes, hello, I'm with Tariq Al-Said, the sporting manager from Renault Sport Racing. Tariq, today in Imola, it's 20 cars on the grid. It's more than 2 weeks ago in Monza. That's a very good news for the championship.
Yeah, that's very good news. Despite the situation, we can see that the championship is still attractive, very attractive for the drivers. Now we have started the season, so everybody starts thinking about motorsports again. So it's a very, very good news for us, and we're quite happy to have this grid.
Okay, and you come back in Imola, the year where it's returned to Formula One calendar. That's a pretty good news too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good coincidence actually, because the philosophy we have is always to run on F1 tracks for the drivers, for our drivers to learn a Formula One track. So that the fact that Formula One has just announced yesterday that we have there will be a Grand Prix here in November is a good news, and all the drivers probably are very happy about it and smiling under their helmets and masks.
Okay, thank you very much. Back
you.
to you, David. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Merci, Antoine. Antoine Gall from Renault Sports press office, looking after our grid interviews for us for Formula Renault Eurocup this weekend. And yes, just to back up the point, it was announced yesterday that Imola will be on the Formula One calendar again in this hastily put together programme to make sure there's a Formula One season. So reinforcing one of the key points of the Eurocup, racing on circuits that give the drivers experience of Formula One venues. Formula Renault Eurocup comes, Formula One follows indeed this year. Number 92 there, you're looking at Victor Martins lining up on the second row of this one-by-one staggered grid. And very shortly, of course, the cars will be released for the formation lap. Everybody with the same base chassis, so it is always, of course, down to the team and driver to get the best out of the combination. Hankook tyres, the 1.8-litre turbocharged Renault engine in the back of these cars with this Formula 3 regional field with the halo device. And there David Vidales, first year of car racing. He's been a very successful karter, was expecting to be racing in the Formula Regional European Championship with US Racing, but last minute change of plan, and there he is, not only in Formula Renault Eurocup, but he's on pole position for his maiden car race. William Alatello then for JD Motorsport, very good in testing in the week, lining up on the second row, fourth, he's 8th in the championship. So Vidales, Collet, the front row, Martins, Alatello, the second row. Alex Quinn, the British driver, will line up on row 3 for Arden, and his teammate Ugo de Wilde alongside. So welcome return to Imola for Eurocup, last here in 2004. And Eric Salignon was a winner here in 2002, previous visit for the championship, ahead of Lewis Hamilton. There's Alex Quinn, so the British driver. Rookie driver, he's done single-seaters and GT racing. He is good to go from 5th on the grid, and 6th will be Ugo de Wilde. Let's have a quick stroll up the grid if we can. David Vidales on pole position in the predominantly white car. The yellow livery alongside is that of number 1, Caio Collet. Then you've got Victor Martins, number 92, for ART Grand Prix, and William Alatello's Finnish colours, the blue and white, alongside the rookie for JD Motorsport. Lining up 5th on the grid, there it is, the black car from Arden's Alex Quinn. And in traditional Arden orange or red and white colours, 6th on the grid, Ugo de Wilde, who was a race winner at Monza last year, but then the season rather fell away after that. 7th on the grid in the white car from ART Grand Prix is Paul Aron. And for 8th on the grid, again for Arden, is Richard de Jarras, the French driver. 9th on the grid, Gregoire Saucy, there he is, again for ART Grand Prix. And to round out the top 10 on the grid, you get the MP Motorsport orange car of Monza winner Franco Colapinto. Next up for Bitec is Lorenzo Colombo, who was a winner last year, so you'd anticipate actually should be a bit higher up the grid. Then for R-Ace GP, it is Petr Patacek, the Czech driver. Michael Belov comes next. Now, Belov was rapid in the races at Monza, but quite a long way back on the grid here in the red, white and blue of SMP Racing. 14th on the grid for FA Racing Amaury Cordil, who had a tiny off in qualifying this morning. For FA Racing, Fernando Alonso's squad is Tymon van der Helm, and alongside for MP Motorsport in the yellow and black Renault colours there is Hadrian David. On the 9th row of the grid, you've got Nicola Marinangeli for Bitec, and alongside is teammate Laszlo Toth, the Hungarian driver, who we saw for Hungary in the Motorsport Games at the back end of last year. Now then, on the back row, 2 to watch here, Jonathan Hoggard, who was the Aston Martin BRDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year award winner last year. Jonathan Hoggard, and alongside him Joey Alders. Now, Joey Alders had a mechanical problem. It was either engine or gearbox related in qualifying this morning. He's one to watch. Jonathan Hoggard has put this deal together very, very last minute because he had signed up to go and do Carrera Cup Asia. Completely different discipline, of course, in a completely different region. But with the situation out there being that dates are very up in the air, he needed a programme to go racing. Well, back to single-seaters. He dominated the BRDC's eSports Championship with iZone in the lockdown months. And Jonathan Hoggard won that with a round to spare. Here in real-world single-seater racing again, slightly on the back foot as he hasn't had very much testing, but I'm sure as the weekend goes on he will get stronger and stronger and stronger, and we'll wait and see how much of this season he does, whether he stays in Europe and defers that Carrera Cup Asia drive for another year. Well, we'll find out. This is the formation lap in anticipation of what is going to be race 3 of the year. It is 30 minutes plus the regulation lap. The cars turning their way here through Tamburello, then down towards Villeneuve, and David Vidales is the man on pole position, the Spanish driver, with Caio Collet lining up alongside. The Brazilian driver who came from the Formula 4 UAE Championship, drove in French Formula 4, was the champion back in 2018. Fifth was Caio Collet in Formula Renault Eurocup last season, and now switching to the second season as the favourite, very definitely here, as the man to watch. So the drivers here making their way around the formation lap, and can Caio Collet take a second win of the year? Can we get 3 different winners out of the first 3 races? For third on the grid, it is Victor Martins, who last year was part of the Renault Sport Academy, no longer, but the former French gymnastics champion. Victor Martins went to karting a few years back, moved to French Formula 4 Championship runner-up, drove in the NEC Formula Renault Championship, the now defunct series. In 2019, he was 5th in Eurocup, and he was 2nd in Eurocup last year, I should say. He was 5th in 2018, and also drove in the Asian Winter Series. So for Victor Martins, he's another driver with a good pedigree. Will be a driver to keep an eye to over the course of this race as the cars now funnel into place. Fourth on the grid is William Alatallo, who, as I was saying a little while ago, has looked really good in the test sessions that have been held before this weekend. He was 9th in Italian Formula 4 last year, did a couple of outings in the German Championship. He also drove and finished 3rd in the feature race in the Motorsport Games, the single-seater element of that. Drove in the UAE Formula 4 Championship. He's raced in the Nordic single-seater series as well. So William Alatallo is a quick driver. He's got lots of single-seater experience and hoping to put that to very good use over the next 33 minutes as we are set to go racing. It is the 3rd round of the championship then, 2 at Monza, 2 to come here at Imola. The last couple of cars will slot into place. The yellow and black livery of Hadrian David comes into position at the back of the grid. The very last driver is Joey Alders for MP Motorsport. He has got some ground to make up here, that's for sure, but he can probably do it. So let's go racing then. The Formula Renault Eurocup season, already 2 races old, but are we going to have a 3rd different winner? The grid is complete. The race director now turns his attention to the lighting gantry. 5 red lights will go on when the lights go out. Now we're in business, and a good start is made by Vidales from pole position there, but somebody bogs down. It looks possibly like Ugo de Wilder's car there, or possibly Colapinto behind him. But as they get away now then, who was it that got left on the line? It was Richard de Geras. Yes, so it was one of the Arden cars as Vidales leads the way. Collet goes 2nd, and they wriggle their way here through the Tamburello chicane for the first time. David Vidales then from pole position, making good his escape. Caio Collet coming under attack. Look as they dive down towards us then. William Alatallo is on the attack as well. Victor Martins has lost a place. Whoops, you've got one in the gravel already. Way off the road. And that, I fear, may well have been Paul Aron's car that got elbowed out wide. He's back on circuit. We'll double check at the end of the lap, and they break the timing beam. But David Vidales leads the way. Caio Collet 2nd. William Alatallo is 3rd. Look as they climb the hill for the first time here. A good getaway then as the cars sprint their way for the first time now through the Pelotella, downhill heading towards the Acqua Minerale, and Vidales on cold tyres has done a demon job on this first lap because he's already extending the advantage over the rest. There's going to be contact possibly there. Look, just avoided. 21, the recovering Russian de Geras, squabbling with the Bitec car of Laszlo Toth. Through the Variante Alta they come, riding the curve. So Vidales it is who leads the pack. Collet 2nd, Alatallo is 3rd, Martins 4th, Quinn is 5th. It was not Aaron there that ran off the road. He is shown as being in 6th place, but we'll confirm at the end of the lap which of the ART cars it was. ART Grand Prix, another of the top junior teams on the grid in this championship. So as the field comes through there, look, going by is Timon van der Helm in the Seoul FA racing car, always distinctive for the multicoloured livery, but the Spanish driver David Vidales leads at the end of that one. Caio Collet goes through in second place. Third at the end of the opening lap is William Alatallo. And can Collet do anything about the leader, or is he going to have to now think about the defence here? Well, there is Collet in second spot. Third Alatallo, fourth is Martins, and Gregoire Saucy was the driver that went off the road. You can see he's dropped 11 places, 7 places lost by De Geras for his pop start. And up one spot, Alatallo, and up one spot, Victor Martins as well, as they come now out of the Tamburello. And number 92 there, Victor Martins, on the back of Alatallo as they come up the hill out of Tosa. Is there going to be an opportunity now to try to make a move? Let's see. He's in the toe, but is the straight long enough to benefit from that? Not really, because just as you crest, you're having to turn downhill here through the Pelotella. Plunge downhill indeed. What you can do at this next section maybe is force a mistake out of the driver ahead of you. Into Acqua Minerale they come. It's right and right again, downhill and uphill, and then over the brow. It's a circuit the drivers love because there's so much of a challenge in it. 51 going through there is Laszlo Toth. 17th he was at the start of the lap as the cars now flick through the chicane, over the curve, bounce through, back on the power. Look now at Martins. He's got more experience of these cars, remember, he raced them last year than does William Alatallo ahead of him. And as they drop down the hill towards Rivazza now, the double apex left, is he near enough to make a move? Yes, but there isn't really the width of the road there to enable him to do that. So Victor Martins sprints towards us. Is there going to be an opportunity now to have a go here as they come up towards the timing line? Victor Martins got a 10th and a second out of the races at Monza, but David Vidales is away and gone. Look, 2 laps in the book. He's obviously just done the fastest lap of the race, the first being from a standing start, but Vidales has checked out. He's gone. Collet second, Alatallo is third, Martins is still there in fourth ahead of Quinn, Aaron, Colapinto, De Wilde, Colombo and Belov. Michael Belov up 3 places from his grid spot. So impressive stuff this from David Vidales early on in the race as the cars now come through Tamburello once more. Second, third and fourth then in a battle pack, turning their way up the hill. So there is number 1, that is Caio Collet, carries that as the man leading the championship jointly with Franco Colapinto. Now where in the order is Colapinto is the next question. He's down in 7th place, so that's advantage Collet as far as the championship is concerned. They're going through, look, Simon van der Helm in the FA racing car coming downhill now, but he's under attack, look, because right there on his tail, number 21, Richard De Geras, after that ghastly start, which saw him squander all the places really that he gained through the qualifying lap, he's trying to make amends here. So Vidal is getting away. He was a second and a half to the good last time. Interestingly, on this lap, Gregoire Saucy, catching up to the field, has done the absolute best in the first sector because, of course, he's running in clear real estate, clear air. Downhill they turn. Second, third and fourth as a battle. 5th, 6th, 7th as a battle. Quinn, Aaron and then Colapinto. Colapinto yet to really make progress, but this could be the debut of debuts for David Vidales. First car race, first time in Formula Renault Eurocup. Pole, and he's leading, and there he is, and he's almost out of range now of Collet because he is still having to think about defending from William Alatallo. So David Vidales is away and gone. With the Tamburello. Now look there at the battle that's going on between Paul Aaron and then behind him Franco Colapinto. Colapinto won the first race at Monza, which inevitably had its safety car interventions because Monza and Formula Renault normally does, but Colapinto came through as the victor there. Looking quite strong here as well. If he can just get himself onto the back, he might be able to think about a move for position. The cars climb the hill. Colapinto, the reigning Spanish Formula 4 champion, did have a couple of outings in Eurocup last year, but it was really the Spanish F4 Championship that was the focus of attention, and also did a couple of races within the Euro Formula Open. But Franco Colapinto then accelerating downhill. The Argentine driver comes from Buenos Aires. Whoops, somebody's had a moment there. Look, and Laszlo Toth is on the recovery. Joey Alders, number 12, working his way up the order, but it's a slow process this. Joey Alders up from the back of the grid, not being able to carve his way through the traffic, I'm afraid to say. He's gained 1 spot there at the expense of Toth, that's for sure. Gregoire Saucy comes up to have a go next, and then Jonathan Huggard struggling with a lack of track time here, really. Hasn't yet nailed his hat on with Formula Renault. It's a shame that, because Jonathan is a very, very good single-seater racer. So up towards the timing line comes David Vidales. Through they go with Vidales ahead of Collet, and the margin is about to be evinced. It's nearly 2 seconds, 1.8 it is over the Brazilian. In third place, William Alatalo. Fourth, Victor Martins. Is he still in that battle? Let's see. He's certainly not all over the back now. No, he's dropped away by 3 or 4 lengths from the blue car of Alatalo here, so he's falling away ever so slightly. In fifth spot still, it's Alex Quinn, the British driver. In sixth place is Paul Aron, the Estonian. So as the cars turn through once again, if anything is going to change, it's going to be that second place fight, isn't it? Number 1, which is the car of Kyle Collett then, with William Alatalo right up behind. Alatalo, is he going to be the next of the Flying Finns? Of course, it was from Formula Renault Eurocup that Kimi Raikkonen went straight to Formula 1. He won this title, he went straight to Sauber, and many people said, no, you can't do that, not experienced enough, but he absolutely shone, didn't he? William Alatalo, 9th in Italian F4 last year, so again, he's one of the few people with a bit of track knowledge. He was very, very good in the test sessions early on in the week, perhaps understandably, given that he will have raced here in F4. So William Alatalo, another driver that we saw in the FIA Motorsport Games, now flicks through the chicane here. You see how aggressive the drivers are over those curves. And now the run downhill once again, heading towards Rivazza. But up front, David Vidales getting away from the opposition. Jonathan Hoggard at the back of the pack. The target for him, Gregoire Saucy, and Joey Alders up to 17th then from 20th on the grid. More cars here than we had at Monza, as you heard Antoine Gold saying on the grid to Tariq outside. Up past the pits comes then David Vidales. The gap is up again, 1.9 seconds. Will they all turn? Now, who else, if anybody, is making progress? De Geras has dropped back, as you see, from that grid position, and Gregoire Saucy likewise, of course, after running off the road and struggling to be able to gain the time back. So you gain off the start, you gain through the hurly-burly of the first lap of the race, but then it's starting to plateau a little bit, which is perhaps why Vidales' pace is so impressive, because he's just away. On cold tyres, he was able to build that lead nice and early here. And it's certainly working in his favour as the cars accelerate uphill now, making their way on towards the Perotella. Here they turn. So as they accelerate down towards Acqua Minerale, on this lap you would suggest that Alatalo has fallen away rather from Kyle Collett. Now, is that going to give hope to Victor Martins behind him? Certainly the gap has widened second to third, but not yet is Alatalo falling into the clutches of Martins, and Martins' sectors and laps not yet suggesting he's going to be able to do much about him, whereas Alex Quinn has done an absolute best within the first sector on this lap. Kyle Collett, intriguingly as well, is a 10th quicker than Vidales in sector 2, and that's the best of anybody in the middle sector thus far. So that's another gap that is coming down, and with still 2/3 of the race remaining, half an hour plus a lap. It's a long, long race. Maybe if you ask too much of your tyres early on, that's going to bite you at the end, and that perhaps is what Collett now is relying on. They're going through is 17, which is the car of Hadrien David. So the French driver chipping his way up the order. Part of the Renault Sport Academy, having been the French Formula 4 champion last year. So moving up to Eurocup, the rookie title is the main focus, but you never know, he might be able to spring a surprise for overall podiums as the season progresses. In the 2 Monza races, he got a 7th and a 6th, so pretty good result straight out of the box. This man, though, in his first outing in the championship, David Vidales, climbs the hill, the gap 1.9 seconds over Kyle Collett. William Alatalo still running there in that 3rd place. Martins is 4th, Quinn 5th, Aron 6th, Colapinto 7th, De Wilde 8th. There should be more out of Ugo De Wilde, as there should be for Lorenzo Colombo in 9th place. They were winners both last year. Petr Potacek is in 10th place. And now the race getting into a pattern, so you're starting to see the problems of being unable to overtake. But I wonder whether Alatalo is maybe not a little bit nearer this time to Collett. In the first sector, yes, he is quicker. In the second sector, he's lost out ever so slightly. So it's another of those rather elasticated situations between the two. Under the rebellion gantry they come down towards Ravazza. Number 20 that you're looking at there is the British driver Alex Quinn for Arden in very Arden-like colours. Remember, he was very impressive when he came into Eurocup at the back end of last year at the Nürburgring. Up towards the timing line there goes number 11, Franco Colapinto, joint championship leader coming into this race, but he's about to wave goodbye to that because he's being well and truly outscored here by Kyle Collett. So the leaders go through, starting now lap 7. And David Vidal is clear by 1.9 seconds over Collett, and then Alatalo battle on further down the order here. 27 is Ugo de Wilde. So the Arden car under attack from the Vitek entry of Lorenzo Colombo. Now you see the Vitek car with its Mont Blanc sponsorship. They've been a timing partner of Goodwood for many, many years, but now adorning the Vitek cars in Formula Renault Eurocup. And up the hill climbs Lorenzo Colombo, keeping Potacek at bay. So approaching half distance, 17 minutes plus the regulation lap at the end. David Vidal is still the race leader. And Alex Quinn just doing the absolute best of anybody within the first sector here, getting away from the opposition. So he's shaking off Paul Aron. Does that mean also he might be able to get onto terms with Victor Martins before the very end? Let's see. So downhill once more comes 91, Paul Aron. As I said early on, we've seen his elder brother, Ralph Aron, winning in Formula 4 and in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Now Paul Aron, the next in the line of Estonians to come and tackle international single-seater racing. Alex Quinn goes through, single-seater racer, occasional GT4 racer in the UK. And they're coming now through the Tamburello sequence of corners. Number 20, Alex Quinn, as I say, on that previous lap, absolute best in Sector 1 and a personal best, in fact, in Sector 3. So Quinn is closing a little onto the back of Victor Martins. He's got to make up another second or so, and he's going the right way about it. Through Tosa they come. See the order further back, which now has Nicola Marinangeli dropping to the very foot of the order. So I think Marinangeli has had a moment somewhere, falling behind Sosi and Hoggard. And now the gaps are starting to widen, aren't they? There goes Van der Helm. Now, is this the answer to what happened to Marinangeli? Yes, it is. Makes a complete Horlicks of Zambarello through the gravel, brings all of the muck and bullets back onto the road. Does that set of Hancocks not a huge amount of good, and falls to the rear of the order as a consequence. Gregoire Sosi getting ahead of Laszlo Toth now as well, up into 17th place. Joey Alders 16th from the back of the grid. The last time Formula Renault was here as the Eurocup, incidentally, one of the two winners was Scott Speed. Just thinking of another Formula 1 link. William Alatalo then goes through, number 38, and in third place, still chasing after Collett. He's there, he's on the tail of him. But can he find a way by? Points only for the top 10 as well, so the pressure is on for the likes of Michael Veloff to get onto terms with Potacek and get that final point. Now that gap second to third has very definitely come down, hasn't it? So you've got now William Alatalo right there on the tail. Number 1, Kyle Collett. Of course, while he goes defensive, this all plays into the hands of David Vidales. He's getting away up the road up front. Through Peratella they come. If they do get together and hold themselves up, then Victor Martins will come back into the equation. And out of absolutely nowhere, Ugo de Wilde has just suddenly done the absolute best in Sector 1. So the Belgian, with the Italian mum, Ugo de Wilde, suddenly digs deep. Out of nowhere, as I say, finds this ultimate sector time. But look at this battle pack now developing for second, third and fourth. They're getting closer and closer. Collett being caught by Alatalo, who is stuck. So that enables Victor Martins to close up as well. Oh Over the brow they turn, down now into Rivazza. So William Alatallo right there on the tail of Caio Collet, and he knows he's got to do this before Martins arrives right on his tail, because if that happens, then he's going to have to go defensive and he'll have to end up dropping away from Collet in order to keep Martins at bay. So if he can catch, he needs to strike, and strike fast. Through goes Vidales. The gap is 2.5 seconds now. He is away and gone. Unless he makes a mistake, this is his race. It's his to lose, isn't it now? So Victor Martins in 4th place. Up now with William Alatallo. And Alatallo just starting to fall away ever so slightly from Caio Collet in that 2nd place. Martins has now done the absolute best in the 1st sector, so now he's got a sniff of that 3rd place. Look, he's right on the tail of Alatallo. They turn, they climb the hill out of Tosa now. Make the run uphill. So Collet aiming to pull away. Alatallo trying to attack, trying to defend. Alex Quinn is there in 5th place. Now, he's in no man's land as well, in a sense. He's not being attacked by anybody, but he's not attacking. If these three continue to delay themselves, he's got a chance of catching up, one would have thought. There, out of the Acqua Minerale they come. Martins using all of the curb. Makes the climb up the hill now. Minutes and change on the clock, and then at the end of that you get the regulation lap. Down the hill they go. So number 92 you're looking at Victor Martins running in that 4th place. So JD Motorsport 1st and 3rd. So Vidales and Alatallo, Caio Collet sandwiched between them. 11 minutes still on the clock, is over the timing line. There goes the race leader. So that now puts 10 laps in the book. Start lap 11, and the gap is 2.3 seconds between the top two. Pit boards go out. Mechanics with masks, of course. Number 44 going over the timing line is the M2 competition car of Michael Belov. And this is the 2nd, 3rd and 4th fight, about to burst into the last third of the race here. Victor Martins throwing everything at it, but he needs to, because remember, it's a 2nd year in the category, and therefore with all of that experience, in fact 3rd year in the category to be fair to him, all the experience ought to have him up at the pointy end of the grid, but it's not really happening in the way that he would like. He's quick, he's there, he's competitive, but he's not really being able to make more progress from 4th place, and of course he was better than that in qualifying. So through turns Collet out of the Acqua Minerale once again. Alatallo is there in 3rd place. Martins 4th. But what is this lead gap? 2.3 seconds. David Vidales, massively impressive. There's no other way of looking at it. First car race, first time in Eurocup, of course. Takes pole. He's been impressive in testing as well. He didn't luck into pole position. Whoops, big slide there from 91. That's a rather curb-happy Paul Aron as he comes through the Variante Alta. Downhill once more comes Caio Collet with Alatallo back on his tail. So in the case of Martins, you close, you get into the dirty air, you go slower, you drop back. That takes the pressure off the man ahead. He then catches the car ahead and gets equally stuck. Alatallo over the timing line, he will come chasing after Caio Collet. Gaps are there, look, and David Vidales goes through, and the lead gap is down by a couple of tenths, interestingly. Now, is this Vidales driving within himself? Is he getting to a point where the rubber is going off? Or is Collet being spurred on by still having to push to try and keep Alatallo at bay? Through goes Victor Martins in that 4th place. What about Alex Quinn's progress? He's doing personal best in sectors, but not necessarily being able to close markedly on those ahead. Whoops, we've got a car off, and it's Petra Potapchak. And that, I think, is coming through Tamburello. He's a long way off. It is Tamburello. Now, how did he get there is the question. Was he pushed or did he fall? The safety car boards are being prepared. So the race director has called for the safety car. So the safety car hits the track. And that is bad news for Vidales, because it's going to bunch up everybody behind him. Now, of course, one of the reasons in all of this partly is getting a car out of a dangerous place, but also, of course, there are fewer marshals allowed on site and fewer Marshall's allowed to go to a car, and the driver can't vacate, and all of these extra elements to factor in with social distancing. So we are, for the next few months, in all sorts of races, going to have these extra caution periods just to be on the safe side, and just so that these situations can be dealt with under the so-called new normal. This might answer the question as to how Potacek got there. Well, we see the end of it, and it all looked rather self-induced. So Potacek off the road, and the Czech driver out of the race. So safety car on track with 7 3/4 minutes on the clock. Shouldn't take long to get Potacek's car out of the gravel bed, and of course this is one of the beauties of a timed race. It's going to be 30 minutes plus a lap no matter at what pace you go. So through go the leaders, but that leading gap has come right down. It was over 2.3 seconds. It had just dipped to 2.1, and now it's going to be lengths, isn't it, rather than full seconds. So there is David Vidales. This gives his tyres a breather, and of course he's going to be on the restart, the man who can control the pace. He will decide when to go, when to push, when to try and get that advantage over the opposition. There's the safety car turning through. So the car's currently working at lap 15, and as they do so, sorry, lap 14 I should say, they're on lap 14. As they do so, they come up the hill to Peratella. Race order as you see: Vidales from Collet, Alatalo from Martins, Quinn is 5th, ahead of Aron and Colapinto. De Wilde, Colombo and Belov round out those in the points at the moment. Safety car turns downhill. The Aqua Minerale with the curbs on the inside, curbs on the outside, run off tarmac as well, should it be needed. How many laps are we going to likely have the safety car out for would be a question. Just looking to see if the marshals are able to get this car out of harm's way swiftly. The lights are still flashing on the safety car, of course. When the lights go out, that's the indication that it will peel in at the end of that lap. But right now, safety car stays out. Jonathan Hoggard bumped back down to 19th after his gravelly moment. Nicola Malinangeli got back ahead of him. So now the pace looks like it's being upped a little bit as they come towards the timing line. The yellow flags are still there, but you see all the weaving to keep the tyre temperatures up and the pressures up as well, ready for the restart. Now we are into the 2-minute 43 bracket for laps. So that's looking like, if they stay out, 2 safety car laps in the regulation lap. Cars turning through. All of these 1800cc turbocharged Renault engine cars, and David Vidales, the race leader in what has been thus far an amazing debut. Is it going to remain that way as the safety car's in this lap, or is the fairy tale going to come to an end because of the safety car bringing Kaya Collett back into the mix? Well, you've got to say that from a standing start, Vidales was absolutely extreme in the way that he got away. Can he do the same from a rolling start? Joey Alders might be able to roll the dice again as well here. He did some of his overtaking early doors up from the back of the grid. He had this mechanical drama in qualifying that prevented him really from doing a flying lap. But Joey Alders is a quick young Dutch driver, retired in the first race but got 10th in race 2. at Monza. So he's another one to keep an eye to on this resumption of the race to see what progress can be made. An incident involving Petr Potacek and car 22, which, sorry, I don't mean 22, that's what the message line said, but it will be a different message car. Yes, 22 is what the timing screen tells me, but we don't have a 22, so it's Petr Potacek and AN other will be investigated after the race. Hard to investigate somebody that doesn't exist in the race, I guess, in the context of the number 22 car that's been typed onto the screen. However, the stewards will have a look at something and decide if anything needs to be done. So downhill they come. We'll go racing this time. And David Vidales is away. He's already gained a couple of lengths. Speed builds. The yellows will be replaced by the green flags. And with 2 minutes and change on the clock, we go racing. So there should be time, I would have thought, just for 2 flying laps and the regulation lap to go. Vidales leads past the pit then. Second and third, nose to tail. William Alatello on the back of Caio Collet. Place change about to go further back by the look of it as they come into Tamburello with De Geras making progress. Joey Alder's also on his toes as the leaders go by. So down they come towards Villeneuve and the race leader David Vidales once more getting away. Caio Collet is there in second spot. Third still is Alatello. And Martin's not going with them because he's a bit busy defending from Alex Quinn, who is fifth, and then Paul Aron, who is in sixth place. But Martins does actually close right up going into Tosa under braking. We've got a car running wide, as you saw there, coming out of Villeneuve and flashing through the gravel. So there'll be a bit more shuffling in a moment. Look, there's a right old concertina effect going on at the foot of the hill at Tosa. Uphill come the leaders, over the brow, through Piratella, drop downhill once again. The one retirement is Potacek. Vidales is building the advantage once more. He's away and gone. Joey Alder's up to 14th at the expense of De Geras now. Over the brow they come. So Vidales, is the clock going to hit 0 on this lap? I think they'll just be able to get to the timing line in time for one more. So Vidales is already heading down towards Rivazzi. He'll be good. Caio Collet's there in second place. William Alatello is third, ahead of Martins, Quinn and Aron. There's no change in the order really up front, despite the safety car bunching them all up, despite giving people another proverbial bite of the cherry. To the timing line comes Vidales with 2 to run. The clock will hit 0 this time. He'll get the regulation lap tagged on at the end of it. And over the timing line now he will come then. So David Vidales leads the pack. That a slightly wayward line coming out of Tamburello. Drama in the background, one in the gravel, and that is out of the bottom end of the top 10, and that is number 91 that has gone off the road. That is Paul Aron, and that, as the clock hits 0, is in just as bad a place, I would have thought, if not worse than Potacek. So that should be another interruption. We've got the regulation lap at the end of this, but not entirely sure as the yellows and the safety car comes out that it's going to be worth running, because they can't overtake, but the safety car will be deployed. That's the reason. There's no way that you can really let them go past that under modern day green flag conditions. So the race is going to end effectively behind the safety car here. They'll start the last lap of the race. The safety car will pick them up, but they won't be able to do anything. There might be a symbolic run to the line, so the photographs will have the checkered flag being waved rather than a safety car in front. There is the incident. Hard to see whether there was a shove, but I think there might have been. Colapinto getting in there, so there was a bit of a push from behind. So out comes the safety car, and as I say, that's effectively the end of the race, because there'll be no real opportunity to overtake from here on in, which is a big shame, but it is, I'm afraid to say, one of those things. And with the car, as you saw, right on the lip of the circuit, there wasn't a great deal that the race director could do. Even with only a lap to go, it's still not worth the risk of anybody else running wide and clobbering it. Far better. The question is, why did you put the safety car out rather than why didn't you? So the cars come through. 2 safety car periods then. We were doing all right to begin with. And then, as ever, safety cars breed safety cars. Over the timing line comes David Vidales. He's about to start the last lap of the race. This will bring him into the mix of the championship quite nicely with 20 points 25 points straight away to his name. So over the line they come, and the clock hits 0. So, as I say, this will be now the final lap of the race. So David Vidales, what a debut within the championship. Caio Collet will assume the championship lead with a win, a third and a second over the course of the 3 races thus far, and William Alatalo also taking his best thus far, first podium of the season, so quite a lot for different people to be pleased about, but none more so than David Vidales. The cars now turn their way down through Tamburello. So there he is, the race winner. You've only got to take the checkered flag, but this is like an early lap of honour for him. So up through Tosa, David Vidales with a very impressive Formula Renault Eurocup debut. Race 2 has a standalone qualifying session that will begin tomorrow's action at Imola. And for David Vidales, let's see whether it can be 2 out of 2. But he was mighty in testing, he was mighty in qualifying this morning, and looking oh so strong around here, putting himself very much in a good position for the remainder of the weekend. Having said that, go back 12 months, a little bit more, Ugo de Wilde dominated the first race at Monza, never came close again to looking as good. He was in the front-running pack, never got another win, so it doesn't always follow that you look impressive in one race and you will continue in that way. So the last few corners of the lap being ticked off here. Drivers making their way through the Variante Alta. The lights are out on top of the safety car, but all you can then do is make the run up towards the timing line. So the flag will be out, the clock has hit 0. We've had the regulation lap. Safety car will peel in this time. So David Vidales gets ready to accelerate away, just to make sure that he doesn't get mugged on the line. The safety car will peel in, and so David Vidales accelerates away. The Formula Renault Eurocup race 1 at Imola. There's the checkered flag. Vidales takes the win. Caio Collet will be second, and William Alatalo third, but only just. Victor Martins then, with Alex Quinn behind him, comes across the line next, and Franco Colapinto in 6th place, subject to anything that the race officials may want to have a look at the end. So a great drive, really, really impressive that by David Vidales. Comes through a dominant winner, really. The gap at the end doesn't tell you the whole story, does it? Because what we had was a very, very good margin of over 2.3 seconds early on, much reduced because of those 2 late race safety car periods. So as the drivers complete the in-lap, Jonathan Hoggard down in 19th spot, and in fact retiring to the pit lane in the end. Paul Aaron we lost in the gravel, so a disappointing race that for Jonathan. I know he's way behind the 8 ball in terms of mileage from the lack of testing, but clearly there's something not quite right there, preventing the progress to be made. One of the other lovely features about Imola, you see all the buildings around the circuit on the inside and the outside of it, and just like Monza, it has that fabulous old school circuit feel. The drivers, having had lots of laps around here, really enjoying the challenge of the circuit as well. So we'll check the results in a moment, and the drivers will of course have a slightly subdued celebration. Some of the scenery around Imola, as we confirm David Vidales the winner with 18 laps done, from Caio Collet. William Alatalo in 3rd place, Victor Martins 4th ahead of Alex Quinn and Franco Colapinto, Lorenzo Colombo taking 7th from Ugo de Wilde, Adrien David and Michael Belov, the point scorers. Amaury Cordial 11th from Timon van der Helm and Joey Alders, up to 13th from 20th on the grid, missing the points but making progress. Gregoire Soucy 14th, and Rachad de Geras throwing away a lot of hard work with a very poor start. 16th Laszlo Toff. Nicola Marinangeli 17th after a trip through the gravel. Retiring into the gravel, Paul Aron. A retirement in the pit lane, Jonathan Huggard. Another retirement in the gravel was Petra Potacek. So David Vidal is the race winner. Into the Parc Fermé area he comes. And again, for social distancing, barriers are there to clearly demark where you can park, and therefore making sure you don't get the cars too close to one another and the drivers too close to one another. But it is quite a debut, that. Out he clambers. Applause from the team. And David Vidales walks over. That's about as excited as you can get. Masks on, I think that's just about allowed, isn't it, under social distancing. Crash helmets and masks, that's pretty much okay. Lots of elbow bumping, which is the new way of saying hello or congratulations. But William Alatallo taking third place there. So a 1-3 for JD Motorsport, which is a good start to the season. I know they've had the 2 races at Monza, but good results here as well. There's Caio Collet, a little bit frustrated, one would suspect, having tried hard, but never really being able to get near enough to Vidal. Is just seemingly lacking that final something, that final nth of pace. So the drivers go to the scrutineering garage where they are weighed. Their weight and that of the car factored together to make sure that everything is as the regulations dictate. And the officials and the mechanics getting the cars ready for the scrutineering check. There's the Renault Sport backdrop in the pit lane. The Parc Fermé area now being cleared, ready for the next activity, because the pit lane is going to be used for the next race here, because it's a pit stop GT4 race. And let's have a look at some of the highlights of that race, and also the end of it, where we had the cars all bunched up under the safety car. So that was set to accelerate away, and this a moment to savour for David Vidales. Then he controlled the race pace all the way through, and as he stormed away, checkered flag at the ready, a race win. First race in Eurocup, pole and a race win. How about that? So the drivers will make to the presentation area, but we will have a look at the highlights, which began with that dreadful start for Rashid Dejeris. A good start made, though, by David Vidales, and it was a start he was never to lose as the cars accelerated their way through the opening couple of corners off the road and dropping a long, long way down the order. For number 93 was Gregoire Saucy. He got back into the race, did recover some of the lost ground, 14th in the end. Another to run out of road was the Italian driver Nicola Marinangeli, but he was able to recover from that. It was Petra Potacek's off that brought out the first safety car period. And perhaps inevitably it wasn't the last either. The race got back underway. David Vidales set off trying to rebuild that gap over everybody else. Way wide, coming through Villeneuve, losing more places. Rashid Dejeris, and then off the road, and he stayed off the road this time, Paul Aron. And that car, embedded in the gravel, brought out the second safety car. The race got back underway only for the ceremonial run to the flag, with David Vidales coming out on top. And he was, understandably, a very happy man indeed. Now, it is David Vidal is the race winner, and Antoine Gall is there to have a word with him.
Yeah, David. Hey. Hello, David. David, fantastic job. It's your first race weekend in a Formula car. You took a brilliant pole this morning, and today it's a very, very strong win. What is your feeling today?
I mean, I'm really happy. The team and everyone has done an incredible job. Since the beginning of the weekend, we were really fast, so we worked hard, and with the pole position, the race, we know it would be a bit more difficult. The first start for me also ever in Formula car. So yeah, after the start, I managed to be first, until the end of the race. So really happy. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Congratulations. Caio, it was a very tough race. We can see it on your hands. Can you tell us a bit more about your race and the pace that David was?
Yeah, I think both GDs had a really good pace today, especially David. I think in the first few laps he could do a big gap, and after it was really hard to catch. And yeah, but anyway, P2, good points for the championship, another podium. Big thanks for the team, they did a really good job. Our first time here, so it's not so bad, and we will work for tomorrow.
Thank you, Caio. Well done, William. Well done, William. P3 for you today. That's showing that all the weekend you had a good pace. What's your feeling now?
Yeah, definitely I had a good pace all the weekend. I wish I could have done a bit better job of qualifying. I was P4 in that. But I had a great start of the race. I passed one driver, Victor Martins. After that, my goal was to just be the first, but it didn't work out as I wanted, but I am happy with P3.
Okay, thank you, William. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Back to you.
Antoine, thank you very much. Good to hear from our top three drivers. It's an unusual way of doing it with the face masks on, with the drivers, of course, standing away from us. But it's good to hear from them nonetheless, especially their thoughts at the end of that race. And David Vidal is a very, very happy man indeed. And yes, the pace that the JD Motorsport cars have been underlined by Kai Collett's comments as well. The Brazilian driver, who's made a name for himself in Renault-powered categories these last couple of years. So the drivers now will look forward to race 2 tomorrow. For now, a great drive by David Vidales. Can he do 2 from 2? Find out tomorrow. But for day 1 at Imola, David Addison. Goodbye.